Mavathor, you can take your turn if you like.
Yeah. As a bonus action, he'll deploy his shadows. And then let's see, just got the thing open. Um, let's say 2 attacks on this guy and 3 attacks on this guy. And they should have an additional +5 to hit.
Well, these guys have AC 10, so every one of them but the natural one hits.
All right,
Um,
so guy on the left loses 2 strength, and the guy on the right loses 8 strength.
Woof. All right.
And then as his action, he'll go ahead and switching others. He'll swing his Nightmare Crook at this guy.
So the third or the second guy also takes what 8, 16, 17, 27 necrotic,
Yeah.
and the first guy takes 5. Okay.
And I crit him with my Nightmare
And you
Crook.
crit with the crook.
He takes
27.
20.
Another
Yeah.
27. Nice. Wow. All the shadows come off of your face and appear around the 2 creatures, digging into their flesh, dissolving them from the inside out, withering their resolve and their strength all at once. And let's see. Now it is this guy's turn. So this guy's lost 8 strength. So these attacks are going to be at -4 of whatever they're rolling at. 14, 21. He hits Smiler with his maul once. And Smiler with its with his sword, he's got his sword in one hand and he's kind of taunting the boar. He's kind of like pushing his shoulder, pushing his forehead. And he says, "What's the matter, Ragdraga? Feeling a little weak." And then he goes and tries to stab him a couple times. Hitting him with both attacks. 22 total. Both of these guys are bloodied. Sylvie, you're up.
Okay. Just gonna take both of my daggers to number 2. Okay, with Fang in offhand.
Both of those hit. 12, 19, 24, 26 total damage.
The sneak attack only applies to the first
Oh,
attack, though.
right, yeah. 12,
Good.
15, 17, 24 total damage. Another couple quick strikes with your daggers. And This boar is kind of hobbling, almost about to collapse. Anything else?
That's right, left at me again.
Mavathor, you're up.
Alright,
I think, unless something horrible goes wrong, both of these creatures should be dead with this round of attacks.
yeah. Yeah, why not? He'll start off with a Nightmare Crook attack.
Yeah,
So
16 hits.
number
Yep.
7 damage.
You concave that boar's skull in, and his eyes roll back into his head as he flops to the ground.
Shadow will kind of creep over his body and lay into this last guy.
They all sort of reach in. The boar's head kind of goes up to the sky, and he lets out this horrible, pig screech as he's being sort of ripped apart from the inside, and you see kind of dark, almost black blood start to leak out of his snout and his ears and drip down the corner of his eyes, and his maul falls out of his hand, and then he just kind of collapses in front of you all.
Sylvie's automatically gonna start looting them. Can't believe they were laughing at me.
I mean, I think we all got a good chuckle out that.
Yeah, but you
excellent
guys are
display of
different.
acrobatics.
You guys are different. You're allowed to laugh.
Oh, good.
Well, we'll take your word for it. And as he steps by the shadows, they all coalesce back on top of him.
Yes, the shadow cloak.
Sylvie, you pilfer 3 soul coins out of his pocket of the main guy. You can see that the little crown he has on his head is sort of this ornate diadem. It has a kind of a pointed half sun at the front, kind of, with a glittering sort of white gemstone in the center of it. And his maul looks fairly ornate. It is, kind of coated in gold and has like a jade head, and it's +2 war maul.
Okay.
The other guys aren't really carrying much. Most of their equipment is sort of mundane. They have like a couple of them have like living like grubs in their pockets, like these large juicy maggots you kind of reach in, that they probably use as snacks, little snacks.
Doing this
Yeah.
to Smiler. Open up.
Smiler takes a few steps back, and he kind of opens his wide, grinning mouth. He says, "1 soul coin if you can make it in."
Throws it.
Yeah, make a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
He doesn't even budge. And the little grub kind of lands in his mouth. He without even chewing on it, in one big gulp, he swallows it down right away. So, delicious. And he does like a little flourish of his hand and flicks a soul coin at you.
Ooh, yay! Thank you.
This vehicle that is here, your vehicle is a little more than half, a little over half damage now. It has about half its HP left. This vehicle that's left behind, that's no longer manned, has a few extra stations. It's got a wrecking ball and the chomper, and it is quite a bit bigger. Well, it's one size bigger than the vehicle you left Mad Maggie's with. It has a bit more power, we would say. Its wheels do more crushing damage. Its wrecking ball and its chomper are also attacks that your vehicle doesn't have. It's up to you guys what you do with these things, but you could take it, trade it, leave it.
Look to Smiley for suggestions if he thinks maybe it'd be better to just cannibalize what we can from one or the other.
Smiler says, well, you'll definitely draw a bit more attention in the grinder, but it does have a bit more firepower than the scavenger. It's a matter of taste, really.
Does it use more energy?
No, they all sort of operate the same. They burn their fuel at the same rate of speed.
It'd be worth taking both. If the Sword of Zariel's really loose as it is, shouldn't be too much farther of a journey.
Is there a way to see how much energy is left on this one?
Yeah, the fuel tanks have little gauges. This one's about half full. So I think maybe that's 12 hours worth of...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 12 hours worth of run time.
I do agree with Mavathor on this. I think we could take it to our destination and potentially use it for bartering if the situation came up. But obviously I still don't have to get to the point of putting anything further into it. Who wants to drive it?
Lep can drive it for now.
Okay.
You see, Lep says that they can drive it for the time being, and Twig says, I must say, I am quite curious to see how it feels to hit something with that wrecking ball. And he hops up into the wrecking ball station. He starts pulling on the levers, and the thing's rotating around.
He goes, okay, I'm coming up there too.
And everyone climb back into the scavenger and say, let's go.
All right.
I'll stick on the harpoon station, just so it has some protection.
You guys get back on your journey. Lulu kind of gets back up into the helm with you, Mavathor, and continues to seem quite determined to continue onward. As you guys approach, as you guys continue kind of to wind along the river Styx, you start to pass by these gnarled, twisted-looking trees, and they seem to have, like, their branches almost look like they're jagged, twisted metal kind of branching out from the trunk. And up ahead, you know, the landscape of Avernus starts to sort of pull up and ascend kind of up along a hill, and these trees start to get like thicker and line kind of along this hillside that kind of ascends, and you can see as you're traveling up, I don't know who's holding the map right now, but you hear like somebody say, "Behold, Zariel's dog crucified those who betrayed his mistress in battle." And it's like the map that's speaking. It's as though it's like auto-playing this soundbite when you arrive at some destination that's marked on the map. And these wrought iron trees that line the trail eventually lead to the summit of a steep hill. And you can see, as you get closer and closer to the hill, you see these anguished-looking knights that are impaled into the tree's metal branches. And their bodies are writhing in torment. And you can see little swarms of bloated sturges feasting on their blood. We'll park your vehicles at the bottom of the hill here. You get to a point where the trees are a little too thick to drive them all the way up, but you can make it all the way up to like the base of the hill. You can see that near the summit of the hill, there's like a singular tree. And hanging off of one of these twisted metal branches, you can see what from here looks like an elven man with this golden blonde hair and sunken eyes. And as he sees you guys kind of approaching the hill, he's not kind of writhing or being feasted on like the other men hanging from the tree branches, but you see every now and again one of these bloated sturges will branch off from where they're feeding and fly up to this singular tree and start pumping blood into that man that's that elven-looking man that's hanging on the single tree on top of the hill. And as he sees you guys coming up towards the hill itself, he kind of turns his head and looks up towards you guys as you're kind of coming towards the hillside. And Lulu says, I think we're in the right place. The Citadel should be here. But she looks kind of nervous and maybe sounds as though she's not so certain. What would you guys like to do?
Sylvie's gonna just cautiously step forward a little bit. Can, like, she get, like, a reading? Like, is this guy, like, conscious at all?
You can make an insight check.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, as you edge your way up, every now and again you'll see another sturge kind of float from one of the knights that they're feeding on, and you see them, their bloated body kind of shrink as they inject blood into this guy at the top of the hillside, and he turns his head towards you, and you can see the spark of life in his eyes as his gaze meets yours, and he says, please, cut me down so I can move on from this accursed place.
See, I don't really trust things down here. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna ask you a few questions, okay?
He nods his head.
So first of all, what is this place?
They call this place Haruman's Hill.
Okay. And, was there by chance a citadel ever here?
No, I'm sorry to say. This has always been Haruman's Hill.
I have
Say-
like, shoot a glance at Lulu.
Lulu kind of floats up beside you, Sylvie, and kind of looks back over her shoulder at your discerning gaze, Mavathor, and looks back up the hill, and she says, Jander, is that you? And, the man on the tree says, he kind of squints and, it can't be. Is that you, Lulu? Oh, I'm so happy to see you. However, I wish it were under different circumstances. And she says, she gives him kind of a pitiful look, and she says, I wish I could say the same for you. And she turns to the rest of you and she says, this is one of the Hell Riders that betrayed Zariel. And she says, I think I've made a mistake leading you here. I need to ponder my visions more, perhaps. And, you see the man hanging up on the tree sort of get a shameful look on his face. And he says, what Lulu says is true. After we charged through the portal to Avernus, I panicked with some of the others and fled back to El Terrell. I sealed the portal behind them.
I'm going to cast Detect Magic. I want to see if I can sense anything magical around here.
I would say that the whole area has some sort of latent magical necrotic energy.
Gonna walk back towards the others, and I'm gonna go, okay, well, there's something off about this place because I'm getting magic readings.
He tries to, like, hold out his arm when you turn and walk back towards the others. He says, no, please! You must free us!
Lulu, what do you think?
Lulu, gives him another pitiful gaze, and she says, you know, my forgiveness knows almost no bounds. But these men betrayed Zariel in her hour of need. And there's a little flash of anger on her face, and she says, I think that they're suffering the punishment that they deserve. And you can tell that it's like the first bit of malice that Lulu has ever expressed.
Mm-hmm.
A punishment for eternity? Lulu?
You can see, she's got, like, that confused look on her face, like the disappointment of the Citadel not being here, and then sort of seeing this man who betrayed Zariel kind of reemerge from her memories. You can see that she's kind of struggling with it, and the man says, I know what I did was wrong, Lulu. We should have never left Zariel to die as we did. But you must forgive me. I dedicated my life in hopes of making up for my shame. And he kind of hangs his head and he says, but I'll admit, I threw myself on Lathander's mercy, and my prayers fell on deaf ears. We were condemned here to suffer our sins. But you can't imagine the pain that this is. You can't just leave us here. It'd be beyond cruel. And you guys can make some perception checks, maybe. Sylvie, you can tell that, well, I guess you can all kind of tell now that the guy up there that's still has enough strength to speak to you. You can see when he's talking, he's got a pair of little fangs. As though maybe he's a vampire or something.
Sophie's gonna go, hey, nice fangs.
He says, I've bared this curse a long time, which makes the pain of this punishment even greater, because I do not even have the respite of death like my companions. And he points to some of the others hanging on the trees, their bodies twitching, but seemingly they're all perished or unconscious. He says, I tried to redeem my corrupted soul by swearing to hunt my own kind. I hoped volunteering to join Zariel on her crusade would relieve me of this curse. But the horrors of this place were too great, and in the moment, I fled with the others. Now I'm cursed twice. Please, if at least not me, help my friends. We don't all deserve to suffer this way.
So he's gonna back away again and turn to Krayley and be like, what are your thoughts on this?
I think any price has been paid to have suffered for so long. think they should be cut down.
After you say that, Curly, kind of frustratedly sounding, she says, "Of course you're right, Crayley. I can't be the judge of these men. While I'm on my own crusade to save my friend's soul. Some might argue that what she's done is even worse of a crime than cowardice. I spoke out of anger, and I'm sorry. We should set them free."
Sylvie's gonna walk up to the tree, and she's gonna pull out a vial of holy water. She's like, "Don't test me. If I let you down, don't test me." And then she's gonna let him down. I have the holy water ready to just throw it at him.
As you pull him off of the branch where he's impaled, his body begins to crumble immediately to dust, and before his ashes are carried away in the wind, you hear, in a sigh of grateful release, him say, "Thank you." And the other crucified souls remaining on the trees begin to all wail in terror. Their eyes all open, and they reach up and put their hands towards the sky, and the hell wasps all begin to kind of buzz in unison and fly towards your group. And as you're being swarmed by this group of sturges, you hear the wicked neighing of a horse from somewhere, and that is where we will end the session this week. So next week we will begin the get session from now on at 5 p.m. So we do not lose our Heron gun, and I appreciate you guys just letting me get some of that stuff off my chest at the beginning of the session, and as always, I appreciate you all for playing, and I will see you guys next week. Have a good night.
See you.
Yeah.